Instead of throwing lines randomly, try to mimicking interiors, like doing this, and that, and lines like that. So I think it's good if you guys focus on volumes first, on really geometries, and just start from that. The hot tub, right? Which is this, right? It almost looked like that, right? So we have technically that. We have the cockpit, which is going to be another box in here, right? And then we're gonna have the steering wheel, which is going to be a circle coming out of here, right? And then you have the seat. Right, so in a simple, very rough shape, this is what an interior looks like, right? That's it. And the way we represent this is also by not drawing a box, because you're supposed to see the interior. So you just draw sort of like a curve, right? So let's say if we go like this, right? We draw a curve here and a curve there. Curve here. So it's sort of like a U shape, right? I'm just trying to go very rough so I can explain you things, right? But then got the box, right? You got the box in here, which is going to be your cockpit, right? And then you have another box in here. That's going to be your main console. Then you have the steering wheel here. Oops. Then you have the seats over here. And let's say this is your bed line, right? Like where the window is, right? Just like here. But basically, you should be able to practice. If I were you, I would practice geometries like that and try to spin them around, right? So if we go and say, you know what? Let's just make the box. This is the first one. Oops, it's going to be this color. Wait, this color. This is another box, right? And it's going to be this other color. And the steering wheel is going to be this color. Oops, this color, right? And then we have the seats. Also the seats, you need to have the same as cars. You need to have a focal point, right? So sometimes the seat, if you sketch the seat, you take attention away from the interior, right? So you need to focus on, okay, what's the most important part of my interior in here, right? So probably it's going to be this portion, right? So probably the seat, you're just gonna see probably some shapes in here, and probably like not even the you can put the rest of the seat, but you don't really need the whole thing, because you're focusing on the interior just right here, right? So this is just for you guys to understand the main sort of like anatomy of the interior, right? These can serve you as your template, right? Instead of throwing lines randomly, try to mimicking interiors, like doing this and that, and lines like that. So I think it's good if you guys focus on volumes first, on really geometries, and just start from that. There's an advice that a figure drawing teacher told me once, and I think it was very useful. But he's like, whatever shape you have a problem with understanding, just box it out. Just make a box out of it, right? And it sort of like makes sense, right? If, let's say you're gonna draw an arm, right? So you have the forearm, right? And if you have a hard time understanding what is the anatomy, you just box it out. Let's say this is the forearm of an arm, and then the bicep and how things are constructed. The bicep is sort of like an inverted box, right? And then you just make the curvature like this, right? And then like this, right? And then you have the shoulder, right? And then here, and then you have the, sorry about my figure drawing skills, but that's sort of like the example. You have the hand, and then you have the forearm, and then you have the bicep, right? But this is based on is with the same analogy of doing or on simplified shapes, right? Simplifying shapes. So let's say later on top of that, okay, you start drawing like the muscle, right? Like this, right? But this is what I mean, like is the box analogy, right? So we're not looking at figure drawing today. It's not my strength, but it works the same, right? So having here just a basic geometry will help you guys as a template, right? So the next thing is, if you're gonna move forward with these things, as I said, you need to oversimplify everything. So probably the steering wheel, I think, in my opinion, is better. Instead of doing circles, it's better if you oversimplify the steering wheel in a sort of like a rounded box, right? So let's say you have a frame. You have a frame like this, right? And then you sketch the frame again, like this, right? Like this. Like that. And then you have a steering wheel like that. Simple, right?